And it is the Saturday Coffee Clutch with Heather Lofthouse and yours truly, Robert Reich. I guess I want to start out, Heather. This has been another grueling week. I don't know how you feel. How
Brutal.
are you doing?
Can I ask you how you feel for once?
After you tell me how you feel.
Oh, gosh. I'm okay. Better than last clutch. I was like, it was a low day. Today's a medium day. My family's coming back from having been traveling. So that's nice.
That is great.
So that's personal. We can talk about the personal later.
I think we should talk about the political and the personal.
Right. But so that's me. Wait, but back to you. How are you today?
Well, I'm okay. But, the other day somebody asked me how I'm doing. And I just blurted out shitty. Yeah. And I realized that I'm shitty because of the person who's in the White House and the effect, it's almost subconscious. It's the kind of negative, awful, sadistic effect that everybody is feeling. Even subconsciously. I mean, you go about your day and people are busy and I'm busy and a lot of nice things happen. But this is, you can't get away from it.
I know. He's infected so much.
I mean, it's awful. But what are we going to talk about today?
So much to talk about. Big economic news. I really want your 2 cents on this, please.
Okay.
But I think the first thing tariffs have been, so he's been threatening Trump.
By the way.
Yes.
Hold that.
Yeah.
Because I want us to talk about tariffs as import taxes.
Yes.
Because they are not. Nobody knows the word taxes or tariffs, but import taxes, that's what they are. They're import taxes.
Okay.
And they are paid for by us, by Americans. Right. And so tariffs, let's get away.
We'll do a rebrand.
Okay, rebrand.
So these tariff import taxes that Trump has been threatening, and then he moves the date, and then he doesn't move the date, and then he moves the amount, and then and it's so just handshaking with all these different people and being
it's so personal. It's like each deal, everybody's waiting. Well, what's Trump going to decide? We're getting to the final hour, the final minute, and the Canadians, what is he going to decide?
And it's not based on rational data analysis. It's what's he going to decide in that moment.
That is the point. We are in and this is really a theme that I suggest we talk about today.
Okay, let's do it.
The theme is that you and I, were brought up in a world of law and a policy that is rational, that people had to justify the laws and the policies on the basis of public interest.
I got a master's in public policy. That's how I met you. 2 years studying
I taught you
how we carefully assess the scenarios, what's happening in the world.
Heather, I apologize. I want to apologize to you now because
what am I doing with that degree?
Because public policy and law. I know a lot about public policy and I have a law degree. It's irrelevant. We're dealing in a world in which we have one person who's making personal deals, and they are at his whim, and everybody else is trying to figure out what he's going to do next and why he's going to do it. And we are so far away from a world of law, the rule of law, that it's sometimes staggering to think about where we used to be. I mean, the Constitution. Now, you sometimes kid me for...
Do you have it with you?
I don't have it with me, but I know it by heart. I mean, Article 1, Section 8 says the tariff, customs, all duties originate with Congress. Congress has the power to decide on tariffs. Well,
nope.
That's not the case.
Not these days.
I mean, he conjured up an emergency, a national emergency, based on the balance of payments and
that feels like ages ago, by the way.
And the national debt balance, and so that's
he had his poster board. Remember that?
Yes, and that so-called emergency creates his authority. To what? To deal with every individual nation and strike a different deal. And we don't even know what the deals actually are, and nobody's publicizing the deals. And for all we know, he's pocketing money off these deals, or maybe he's pocketing some future agreement to have a Trump resort in wherever this country is.
Right.
I mean, what kind of we're so far beyond the rule of law that it's hard to even talk about it.
I know. It almost feels more like you would see this at a corporation or in the mafia or...
Mafia is closer.
In a this does not read democracy.
It's the opposite of dulling.
I mean,
this is what we fought the Revolutionary War about. And this is taking on, a despot who has his own view from one minute to the next of what he wants.
And the guy at the top, it's the guy at the top. We really got it matters about the guy at the top, and we can't, and mergers and acquisitions, you mentioned that in your Substack, these Wall Street people who are like, I really, as I'm working on things, I really got to take into account the intrusions of the people at the White House.
All these lawyers are advising their clients, and we're talking about big corporations and the big corporate lawyers. They're saying, well, let's see, let me see about what I can find out about what they want in the White House, whether they're going to approve this particular merger, this particular acquisition. Columbia University. I mean, all of that, Harvard University, all the universities, all the individual law firms, all the individual media companies, they're all vying for Trump's attention, his good graces. They want to avoid pissing him off. What are we living in now? This is it's so personal, Heather, that it is, to me, it resembles everything I know about fascism. This is fascism.
I know it is. And this week, so Canada, our neighbors to the north, have been talking about a lot of things. But one thing is they were talking about Palestine and the fact that they would say it was a free state, potentially the end of September. And then Trump says, excuse me, what? Watch me with my tariff card. Forget about Article 1, Section 8.
Yes, I'm going to put a 35% tariff on everything coming from Canada. And I'm sorry I used the word tariff.
Oh, right.
It was an import tax, a 35% import tax on everything coming from Canada. Think of the oil, think of the lumber, think of the auto parts. I mean, all kinds of things. And this is vindictive because, why? Because he doesn't like the Canadians, and they haven't been cooperating, and because
they're not saluting.
They're not saluting, and they decided because it's their right to decide whether they recognize a Palestinian state and under what circumstances. So what does this fascist in Washington decide? He's going to just do what he wants to do, and charge Americans a 35% import tax on Canadian everything coming from Canada.
While he's supporting Netanyahu. Let's be clear about that.
While he is supporting Netanyahu. And this is why you can't separate out, one issue like import tax tariffs from other issues like what's happening in Israel right now. It's all the same. It all comes together around this fascist in the White House.
So there was some movement on American soil with regard to Gaza this week. We talked about it last week on The Clutch, but seeing these kiddos, Americans, I mean, there's been murder that we've seen, but somehow watching starving children.
That's it.
Makes people rise up in a way that they hadn't previously.
Well, here's where my age comes in, because I remember so distinctly a turning point in Vietnam, in the public's feeling about why we were in Vietnam, whether we should be in Vietnam, when you saw these photos of these little children, kind of fleeing from napalm, and naked, and the public saw these photographs and said, no, this is wrong. We are not going to allow this. Right. And the starving children in Gaza, I think it's just changing public opinion, even Jewish public opinion. I mean, I can't tell you how many people are now saying to me, I'm Jewish, you're Jewish, we are obviously not anti-Semitic, but we are anti-Netanyahu. This is an authoritarian fascist regime doing some of the terrible things that resemble, not the same, obviously, but it's that resemble what was done in the 1930s in Germany to the Jews.
I know. And Trump and Netanyahu, I mean, they're these two authoritarian leaders.
And Putin. These are the three.
I was going to say synchronized sinners.
Synchronized sinners, did you say?
Synchronized swimmers, but different.
Well, it's not exactly.
No, it's not.
But it's pretty good.
They're together. It's really ugly. But back to the military-industrial complex that America loves to support, or some Americans make happen. And so this week, 27 Dems, right?
In the Senate,
voted in support of this resolution by Bernie Sanders.
to not give any military aid to Israel. This is a huge deal, Heather, because you've got the AIPAC, the Israeli lobby that has spent huge amounts in these campaigns, and the Republicans are in their pockets, and the Democrats have been, but the Democrats are now saying, no, we are not going to allow this kind of mass starvation.
Right.
And Netanyahu has already turned Gaza into rubble. We are not going to allow this humanitarian crisis, this indecency. I've talked to members of the Senate, senators who are talking about Netanyahu now as a war criminal, and he is.
I know, but it took a long time for us to get here.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of the language, you saw Angus King wrote that terrific letter.
Angus King, he's an independent, but like Bernie Sanders, these independents from New England, hey, they are in the lead. They're taking the lead.
Right.
And I wish the Democratic Party, was as courageous
Yep.
as a whole.
Right.
But they're getting there.
And what was that Eisenhower quote? Remember, you've said
yes.
Do you have it in
I
your
have
pocket?
it. I have it. Okay.
This is good.
This is from 1953. He says every gun. This is Dwight Eisenhower. Now, you remember Dwight Eisenhower,
right? And 75 years ago.
Do you? I mean,
whatever.
You don't have a direct
No,
memory.
I don't. He's not in my speed dial.
But he taught. He was the most boring speaker. I mean, when you listen to Dwight
Right.
Eisenhower, I mean, I remember I was a little kid. I would go, "Oh, do we have to listen to Dwight Eisenhower on that?" He would say, but he's had good things to say. Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired, signifies in the final sense a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. In other words, the military industrial complex was taking away resources that we needed and the world needed. It wasn't just
Right.
the United States, the world needed to avoid the starvation and hunger and I mean all of the worst miseries of mankind.
Right, and he's saying one gun, and we're talking about millions of guns, tens of thousands of assault rifles.
There is no justification, let's be clear, for sending military aid to Netanyahu and this horrible regime. This does not make me anti-Zionist or anti-Semitic when I say that. And let's separate these issues.
So here we have, it's been so interesting to watch how long this is taking, right? We've talked about ceasefires. We've been watching the horrendous, horrific happenings for ages now. But having the zeitgeist catch up, or the politicians catch up to the zeitgeist, or having all Americans see it in a similar way. So the other thing that's been happening is we have the tariffs are about to hit, right? Like is it this week? Is it tomorrow? Are they prepping? Is it yesterday?
Not tariffs.
Import taxes.
Import taxes.
So the import taxes.
Yes.
I feel like we have to say the tariff import taxes.
Whatever
to
you
help
want to say.
me transition.
But I think
okay.
it's important that
Okay.
people see these as taxes.
Totally. Okay.
Yeah.
So these tariff taxes, these import taxes, in under the guise of tariffs.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So they're coming in, but when are people going to see the prices affecting them? We're starting to see this. There's been new economic data out that we have to talk about this week.
Well, this was a big week for economic data, and it showed the consumer price index and other indices
the inflation,
of prices
right?
showed an uptick in inflation. This is Trump is saying to Jerome Powell and the Fed, you've got to lower interest rates. Well, you don't lower interest rates when you see inflation on the horizon and when you see all of these import taxes being just about applied, including 35%. And we didn't even talk about 50% on Brazil.
Oh, I know.
I mean, coffee clutch, hello?
I know. How are we going to drink
even
anything?
more. This is going to be so...
But that's another personal,
Goodbye,
right?
coffee.
I mean, he doesn't like what they're doing.
No, it's personal.
Bolsonaro
judge. It is personal. This is another example of personal because Trump doesn't want. Trump hates Lula in Brazil, and he's going after Lula because of Lula's efforts to hold accountable Bolsonaro.
Yep.
Lula's predecessor in Brazil, who did just what Trump did, tried to, overturn an election and urged people to go and go after the government officials and attack government office buildings. In other words, Trump is using tariff policy. Import tax policy. To punish Brazil. This is one man. This is Donald Trump, fascist one-person rule, deciding what he's going to do. Vindictive and kind of all over the place.
But Bob, so if his goal isn't economic, it's just power and watch my whims?
It's yes, I have the power. I want everybody, whether you are Canada or another country or Columbia University or a law firm or, the Smithsonian or whoever you are, I want you to come and beg me. I love people coming and begging and just making deals with me. And by the way, if the deal happens to be a little bit of a pay to play, like maybe a giant jumbo jet that's a palace, that's even better. So.
But also, and I will punish those of you who aren't coming to beg at my feet.
And anybody who if you criticize me, or if you allow people to criticize me, if you are CBS, I might not even allow you, CBS, to sell yourself to be part of a merger with your parent company Paramount to be sold. I'm so I have so much vindictiveness and so much control over government that I can basically make your life miserable. If you're Jeff Bezos, you have antitrust. I can use antitrust against you, Jeff Bezos. So you make sure that the Washington Post doesn't say anything critical of me.
But it's on such a huge scale. I mean, this is global personal.
Global personal.
Ugh.
And this is not, again, contrast this with a rule of law, which is predictable, which is based on some facts.
Logic. And
it's based on the public interest. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with any of that.
But the other thing about all of this is it creates a fog around Epstein stuff.
Oh, well.
It creates a fog around the jobs report. I'd love for you to talk about that, too.
But you don't even have to have much of a fog around Epstein, because what did they do this week? I mean, what the Justice Department, it's again, a personal deal. Personal deal.
Yeah. And Ghislaine Maxwell has just been moved to a softer, more minimum security situation.
A minimum security. Now, you look at that. Why is she moved to a minimum security prison? Could it be that she has some agreement there that she might not implicate Trump?
I know.
I mean,
the jobs report, can we talk about, I'm tired of talking about the 0.0000%. Can we talk about everyone else for a minute? How is everyone else in this country doing? I mean, the jobs report was not good.
No, I think it was the worst jobs report we've had in some time in terms of the number of new jobs being created. So this is important, with regard to the jobs report, yesterday's jobs report, 73,000 new jobs, Heather. Now, without context, that's meaningless. The context is that the average new job growth is about 200,000. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what you expect. If the economy is doing halfway decent, you get 200,000 new jobs because of population growth. But no, we had 73,000. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they very often do this. What they do is they get more information from previous months. They had to, as they have before, but they revised downward the actual job growth for May and June. So we got 73,000 for July. In May, the job growth actually was revised down to 19,000. That's from 125,000 down to 19,000.
Big downgrade.
And for June, from 147,000 down to 14,000. So you had, in other words, 238,000 jobs.
258,000 jobs.
238,000,
58.
You are a mathematician.
I try.
You are so good.
Thank you for noticing.
So that was subtracted, and this is what the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They are so careful to modify when they get additional information.
Also, of course, you revise something that comes out on the first of the month for the previous month. I mean, imagine in all of our accounting, have you ever found someone that can close a month the first day of the next month? Of course,
but what they do, they try to be as accurate as they can,
yeah.
and that their accuracy, they are known for their accuracy,
Right.
and they're politically, they are insulated from politics. You know, I once made a terrible mistake. It was on an international discussion of jobs, and it was in Paris, and they called me in my office at the Labor Department when I was Labor Secretary, and they said, translator from French, how many new jobs do you expect the Labor Department is going to show in its monthly labor report tomorrow? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, they don't tell me, and I cannot know. But my guess would be, and I gave them a guess, and it was translated back into French as I expect.
I see.
And then it went around the world.
Interesting.
And people were so upset with me as if I had seen the figures.
A sneak peek.
So they really are careful. But here's the other thing. When these revisions came out yesterday, what did Donald Trump do? This is in line with our theme about personal. Everything is personal.
Personal and loud.
Vindictive, angry.
And taking over.
So he says that the Commissioner of Labor Statistics, this woman who is, very, very careful, very diligent, who has been absolutely, there's no reason to think anything other than professional. He says that she should be fired.
This is on Truth Social immediately.
I mean, this is Trump's response to bad news.
Yeah.
And
well, to news that makes him look bad.
News that makes him look bad. That's right. And it's just, he goes after the messenger. Always, always do that. Well, when you do that repeatedly, what you're doing is reducing the public's trust and faith in institutions of government, like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that you need the public to trust.
We need to have so much faith.
I mean,
in
the
those
same
numbers.
thing with the Fed. I mean, he's going after the Fed. He just goes after the Fed because he doesn't like what the Fed is doing, and he just undermines the credibility. That's his M.O.
I know it. Okay, let's get back to some other things.
At the same time, you've got the financial economy getting more and more frothy, more and more risky.
Yeah,
I mean,
I saw you say frothy in your
frothy.
Substack.
It's not. When I use the term frothy, what I mean about the financial markets is that it's bubbly. It's just bubble, 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 bubble. It's not the real economy. They are just speculating, and there's more and more big money speculating. Look at what we know now about Microsoft or Meta. They are putting huge amounts of money, gambling, billions and billions and billions on artificial intelligence. Is that good? Is that bad? Well, if everybody is betting on artificial intelligence and those huge bets turn out not to be particularly good, or if somebody else, like China, exceeds us, well, what then? I mean, if you've bet the entire house on something, but also the junk bonds are coming back. Do you remember them? Mm-hmm. Those are high risk loans. They charge a huge amount of money. If you are not getting a big return on those junk bonds, what then? I mean, you might not be able to pay them back.
Crypto, of course, and we have this new, the comptroller.
The comptroller of the
currency.
Controller.
Controller, I know, but there's an MP. I mean, come on.
Controller of the currency.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a different word than controller.
Well, it depends on how you say it. Comptroller.
It's a different spelling. No, the controller.
How many times in a normal conversation do you talk about the comptroller of the currency?
No, I try, especially this one. I try to not go there. But he's, another Trump.
Yes, another Trump appointee, a buddy who now has authority under the so-called Genius Act, passed by Republicans in Congress, to regularize. I mean, what we all know what he's doing is basically going to take the hands off crypto. And
stablecoin in particular, which Trump has a huge stablecoin company, Endeavor.
And this is, again, go back to our theme. This is personal. It's all personal. This is all Trump as the
What benefits him?
he's
What makes
raking it.
him
His
mad.
family is raking it in
Yep.
on crypto.
It's so focused on him. This is malignant narcissism, 101.
It's malignant narcissism and it's corruption. And we're going to look back on this era, assuming historians in the future can write the truth.
They will be able to, Bob.
I think so.
Come on.
I think so.
We have to.
Well,
Okay.
I
Promise me?
I'm not going to promise anything because I can't guarantee anything.
Okay.
But I think that they are going
Chances
to look back on this period of
Yeah.
time and just say, well, what was this? That we went through a period where we had public policies and laws, and we had restrictions, and we had a constitution, and now we're having a kind of the Republican Party they are all zombies.
And the personal vendettas, right? So Jerome Powell, he's bullying Jerome Powell.
He's saying, and he's bullying. This is how he does it. He uses another part of government. In this case, he's saying Jerome Powell approved some renovations at the Fed that are very, very expensive. And, they
Talk about hypocrisy. We'll get to that in a
We'll get to
minute.
this. So Jerome Powell, kind of did something wrong. And Jerome Powell, sotto voce, what Trump is saying, I'm going to get you. You don't do what I want. You don't lower interest rates. You are in trouble because I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to humiliate you. I'm going to create a scandal around you. I can do that because I know how to do that. I'm Donald Trump. Well, Jerome Powell and the Fed so far are saying, no, we're not going to cut interest rates because prices are inching upward. That's not what we are going to do now. But consider what Trump is doing even to the Fed. Let's assume, for the sake of the argument, that he gets a Fed chair in there who plays his game, who does exactly what Trump wants. Trump says reduce interest rates, he does it.
Right.
And yet also assume that you're an investor in the market, or you're a corporate investor or whatever. And are you going to be feeling secure about interest rates and inflation? No, you're going to say to yourself, the cop on the beat is gone.
Right. I don't like this hypothetical game.
No, but this is real,
I know.
Heather. This is what is actually happening.
Jerome Powell has said he's not going anywhere.
Well,
And Trump has kind of flirted with the fact that he could or could not try to fire him.
Jerome Powell still has some time left in his term, but not forever. And Trump is already auditioning other Fed chairs.
I know in the data, people are a little worried about there are so few people working around the data that it's problematic. We really need to have people crunching the numbers, being able to check on the prices of
Yes,
things.
the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, which I am not enamored with most government agencies.
Bureaucracies?
But I'll tell you, when I was Labor Secretary, that group of people had so much talent and so much integrity, and they still do, but they are being starved,
Right.
just like
And
most
it is
other
a
agencies.
problem because you
And it's-
need data to make financial decisions.
You do. You absolutely do. But the hypocrisy you were referring to a moment ago,
Yeah, let's get
Trump
into
is
it.
saying Jerome Powell is pouring money into renovations of the Fed building. Meanwhile, what is Trump doing at the White House?
Let's build a $200 million ballroom. Yeah, and let's model it off Mar-a-Lago
And it's going to be even
Louis XIV.
It's going to be even bigger than the White House in terms of square feet.
I mean,
And a
where else is
ballroom.
one going to let them eat one's cake and host one's?
This is the people's house. I mean, we're getting away from the people's house. We're trying to create a ballroom that is larger than the White House, that is gilded in gold leaf.
I know. Phil agreed.
Filigreed.
Phil
That's
agreed.
exactly.
Full of greed.
Full of greed.
Full of
That's
greed.
pretty good.
I know. And also, what about when he went to Scotland on our taxpayer dollars and
And
was there for his
he was
golf
there for
course?
his golf course. It's become normalized. We now think, well, of course he's going to rip us off. Well, that's dangerous thinking itself. A lot of people say, well, of course he's going to be making side deals for himself. That's dangerous. We can't allow that to be normalized.
Okay, what do we do? Should we talk about this? Oh, first, yeah, this is perfect.
What?
Because, I mean, when I think, what do we do? And I ask you, and I think, what do we do? And I try and tell people, I do think about the midterms. I think about elections coming up and the gerrymandering. We haven't talked about that. We can't finish our cups. You're not quite done, neither am I, until we talk about the gerrymandering that's happening, which is also personal, right? So this is in Texas this week, where Trump basically says, Governor Abbott, I need you to find me 5 seats. I need you to go ahead, remap.
Governor, this is the president.
We're going to need 5.
I want 5 more Republican seats out of Texas. I mean, again, this is so counter to what we believe in this country in terms of rule of law. Now, people ask me, should California, Gavin Newsom, governor, try to counter what Greg Abbott is doing in Texas?
Not just Newsom, but a lot of Dems in a lot of states, and some more important than others.
Should New York and Illinois try to gerrymander more radically?
So if they gerrymander, we gerrymander.
Well,
eye for an eye.
This is actually a subtle question. It's an ethical question. It's also a question about democracy. I mean, if Democrats and progressives do the same thing, they say, well, we have to fight fire with fire. I understand that. But it also means that we are denigrating and undermining constitutional norms and values the same way they do.
I know.
It's hard. I go back and forth, Heather. How do you feel?
I find it very difficult. And I think of examples that so many people bring up when the Democrats sat on their hands and could have been more aggressive and could have, gone up against the traditions and protocols, and it would have been better for democracy.
Well, I think of Michelle Obama. What she said, when they go down, we
go high. Yeah,
we go higher.
Yeah,
and I worry a little bit that attitude may be making it harder for Democrats to do what they need to do to conquer this fascist.
But also, I know it depends what models you're looking at, but this is going to be fascinating, the midterms, and it is all important. We know that for democracy. But is 5 seats enough? If it's enough in certain scenarios, how is all of this going to play out?
I obviously don't know, and there's special elections between now and the midterms. There are also very important mayoral contests like New York City. And when I look around the country at the way voters are moving, I am encouraged.
Right.
I think there are more and more people who say, these Republicans, all they want to do is go after immigrants and after transgender kids and after, that has nothing to do with my life. What about prices of things? What about making things affordable to me? What about helping me with child care? And the Democrats are getting it. This is what Mamdani actually talks about.
Right.
And I think that other Democrats are beginning to say the same thing. It's bread and butter issues. It's kitchen table economics. It's what people want and need. And get away from your scapegoating, your boogeymans.
Exactly. You're othering.
You're othering.
But he's so good at it. The con man's con man. He's very good at taking over language, taking over.
This is an era of anger. Anti-establishment anger. I understand it. I've been chronicling it for years. But what Trump has done over his first and now his second term of office, and he's doing it even more crazily, is to channel that anger into really the scapegoating of them, them and them and them and them. Instead of what the Democrats ought to be doing is saying, the real problem, you want to know what the real problem is? It's corporations are too powerful, and rich people are too powerful, and they are taking their wealth and their power, and they're abusing it by destroying our democracy, undermining our democracy with all their money, their campaign contributions. That's why we are in the fix we are in. It's not just Trump. Trump is the consequence, the culmination of all of this.
Did you read about at the Smithsonian? There's an exhibit about presidents who have been impeached, and so there were 3, and then Trump was there, and so they adjusted the exhibit so that he was added, but now we might adjust the exhibit so that he's not in it.
Because the Smithsonian.
The Smithsonian, well, because I think we serious reasons for impeachment. It's a matter of words.
But this is again the surrendering in advance, the desire not to piss him off.
Yep.
So what can we do not to piss him off? His power is not just direct, it is indirect.
Yeah.
It is all of the chilling effect he is having all over the country. All these institutions don't want to make him upset and angry because he could do anything.
Right. So you mentioned that you've been chronicling how we got to Trump. You've been talking about these things. We have, pardon me while I stand up, I think Michael and Jordan are going to get mad at me. Your new book, if I may, is coming up short. It comes out this coming week, this coming Tuesday. Is that this Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Where did the time go? But so Inequality Media Civic Action is going to be raffling off a couple signed copies. So thank you for scribbling your name for us. Tell us about it.
It is coming up short is a double entendre, of course. It's
Got
about
it.
me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Right.
grow, full of growth. I came up short. But the country, my generation also came up short in terms of, my father's and my parents' generation, they bequeathed to us, my generation. And when I say my generation, I'm talking about boomers primarily.
Right.
George W. Bush and Bill Clinton and Donald Trump and Clarence Thomas and I, we were born about the same time.
When was that, 46? Can we talk about that?
1946.
Yeah.
Heather, everybody who's anybody
Obviously.
was born in 1946.
Yeah, we know
Cher.
this. I mean,
Dolly Parton.
keep it going.
I mean, I could
Well,
keep
no
going.
reason to keep it going.
I mean, everybody.
I think that's everyone.
I mean, everybody.
Who cares? Who matters?
But the reason we were born in 1946 is not complicated. There was a war. My father came home. There was my mother. And boom.
Boomers.
Baby boom.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
But they bequeathed to us a country that was not perfect. I mean, women were still second-class citizens. Black people were
sure.
still second-class citizens. But we at least tried. We were beginning on the path, and then we blew it in the sense that in the late 70s and the beginning of 80s, particularly with Ronald Reagan, the country did a U-turn. Instead of building and strengthening the middle class, instead of making it a land of opportunity and diversity and equity and inclusion,
Right.
we became top-heavy. More and more of the wealth of this country went to the top. More and more of the income went to the top. And out of that came more and more inequality of education and inequalities having to do with healthcare and inequalities having to do with everything you can imagine. And I think that it led ultimately to the 2008 financial crisis, in which, the bankers and the people at the top who were responsible for gambling, they got away with it. They got bailed out by taxpayers. And millions of Americans
Yeah.
lost their homes and their jobs and their savings. And that's when a lot of people began to say, the game is rigged. And this is not my democracy anymore. This is, well, that's what I try to get to in the book. I mean, I'm trying to explain it because I was there through
But
part
that's
of
what I
this.
like. You interweave the personal history and the country's history. There's kind of broader themes and then
I tried to,
individual
but
stories.
I didn't have any choice. I wanted to talk about what I learned, particularly in the public sector and the teaching, which is very important to me.
I know.
And
That last chapter is pretty great. Oops, did I say that out loud? Also, you and I are going to be talking about the book and other things for those who are local, Wednesday, August 13 at Broadway SF, which is at the Golden Gate Theater, an event with Book Passage. And so we will be in San Francisco on August 13 if anyone wants to come.
well, in fact, I'm starting my book tour.
Is that the kickoff?
Monday.
Oh, no,
I'm starting
this
it Monday.
week.
I'm going to be on Stephen Colbert's show Monday night.
Are we allowed to tell people that?
And I don't think so.
Great.
And then I do a lot of other things for the next. I don't really like book tours. Can I confess this to you? Keep it to yourself.
Well, I think
Can you keep it to yourself too, please? It's just us.
I think
right?
it's the logistics but you like.
But it's
you
also
like to see,
it's also you feel
see
like
the
a traveling salesman.
I know
You know,
do.
you're flogging.
I know, but people are so excited to.
I don't know.
They are.
It's
know
one
you
thing.
hate it.
A movie is one thing, and you did the movie. You and Elliot Kirshner, a beautiful movie, and I was very touched by your
I'm
movie.
glad.
But it's
It's in
different
so many theaters.
when it's a memoir. It's personal. It's me.
I see. Yeah, but it's historical. It's not just this was me and my feelings when I was in middle school and my feelings when I was in my 20s. It's crafting of narrative that's important to read. So.
Well, it's all me, and it's all very sincere, and it's what I lived, what I saw.
But we do dovetail in terms of the movie because the movie is a personal side of you too, and it's you looking at the decision to retire from the huge course you taught. Just to be clear, you do a few little classes here and there now, but this big course was 750 students. You had 30 teaching assistants. That's 30 graduate student instructors. That's a class in and of itself. And so
We would get together every week. We'd have our own
such an
seminar.
undertaking. But the movie, I just have to say thank you to everyone seeing it. And it's in 50 theaters in 24 states. We're doing more in Florida, more in Alaska.
One of my
everywhere.
sons saw it recently and said, I said, "What did you think?" He said, "Dad, it was like a memorial service for you."
Oh no!
Yes. And I said,
I find it has such hope.
Well, that other people have said it's uplifting and it's hopeful.
Well,
But he,
oh God.
know.
Well, I think everyone should see it. At thelastclassfilm.com is where you go to see where it's showing, and it is not a memorial service.
Heather, what is that? Can you give us that site again?
Of course I could give you the URL again.
Yeah.
Thelastclassfilm.com, which is also, this has not been announced yet. We are going to be doing a live watch-along of The Last Class Film. You and I are going to be watching it together. We might invite some other people. I don't know. We'll see.
People are going to
With
be able
popcorn.
to
Watch us
watch
watching
it.
Yeah, but it's so fun. This is what the kids do, watch-alongs. So we'll do it, and because we want people to be able to see the film and help get their friends into theaters. It is going in all of these independent theaters. Tucson sold out 370 seats.
This is unbelievable, but I just have a question. When people watch us watch the film, are they going to be able to see the film?
Yeah, of course. Do you think Michael would do it any other way? So what happens is we talk at the beginning, we have some popcorn, then we watch the movie. Maybe we cut to us just twice watching the movie, crying, laughing, choking on our popcorn, and then we do a Q&A afterwards. So this is August 12th. It is going to be Tuesday, August 12th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
So anybody can on this page.
Anybody can do it, yep. And we're going to say, pay what you will. It's $0. If you want to just watch it for $0, you can chip in to help support the distribution of the film if you like. And we'll be announcing it soon. So sign up at thelastclassfilm.com. We'll also say the URL for it, the website for it, next Clutch, because we have time before the next Clutch, because we do these weekly.
We should do the last Clutch. We should do.
No, I want to do
no, but
the first of many clutches.
Oh, I know, but we could have a film, the last Clutch.
Okay.
If we ever have
Are
a
we
last
going
Clutch.
to? There's
No,
too much
we're
to
not.
cover.
There is too much.
But with the tariffs and the coffee, it's going to be harder to clutch. But
not
we
tariffs.
won't stop.
It
It
is
is import taxes.
But I'm not going to flog this book.
No, but I'm going to flog the movie.
Coming up short. This is.
I'll put it back. Don't tell anyone I took it
No,
off
no,
the
but
shelf.
it's not actually. That copy is just a.
That's the paperback galley.
It's a galley, yeah.
Okay.
But there is so much more to talk about.
There really is.
And the irony is that your movie and this memoir are coming out, or have been coming out, just at the time when so many people, so many of you out there, understandably, are just so upset. And you have every right to be upset. And I'm upset, and Heather, you're upset. And we started talking, when we started this particular clutch today, about how this fascist Trump regime is making us all all, I think, including many Republicans, feel that something is fundamentally wrong. It's immoral. What's happening? It violates all the ideas and ideals that we accepted and took for granted, and that is so disorienting. It is so disorienting.
And heavy.
But let me just say this: I want to thank you.
And I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Michael Lahanas Calderon, thank you.
3 cheers.
But let me also thank all of you, because despite being so disoriented and upset and despairing, and I know many of you are, you also are maintaining your sense of hope and your sense that we will get out of this, we will emerge. And I think when I mentioned a moment ago about we had taken all of this for granted, we had taken the rule of law for granted, we had taken democracy for granted, we had taken much that we had been born into in America and the world for granted. I think the word of hope that I want to leave you with is that we will no longer be taking it for granted. We see what happens when we become so indifferent to it. We don't see it, we don't appreciate it, that we allow somebody like Donald Trump to take over in every respect and become a personal, fascist, authoritarian monarch instead of a president. And I do believe that recognition, that understanding of how important the Constitution and the rule of law and democracy are to us will be something that we will not forget. Our children will not forget their children, who are now, for some of us, we have grandchildren, they will not forget. In fact, it lays the foundation for a stronger democracy, a stronger America that respects the rule of law and also seeks social justice. So let me thank you again, and on that note, have a good week.